Welcome back again, guys. In this section I'll be explaining how to map out trend zones professionally. Okay, remember that in our previous class we were told that there are three primary types of trend, which are the uptrend, downtrend, and our ranging. Or consolidating zone. And we were told that the uptrend is also called bullish. And it signifies buyers or up movement. Okay, and the downtrend is the opposite of the uptrend. The downtrend can also be called a bearish. A bearish or sellers or downward movements. Note that, very important, guys. Note, please write these things down so you don't forget them. Okay, they are very important. Note, now this thing I'm going to say here is very, very important. You need to understand it as a beginner. Uptrend, when is identified by green or blue candles in the market, while downtrend are identified by red candles in the real chart. Lastly, our consolidating zone. I've told you all the names for consolidating zone, so there's nothing much to say about that. It consists of both trends, both candles. Okay, consists of both candles. So now, guys, let's get back to the topic. How do we map out these zones accurately, like a professional? How do we map these zones correctly? Now, before we get into it, there is something I need to remind you of. Remember, in this academy, once you join this group, I posted some series of videos, and it is expected that everyone that is in this section now must have gone through it. So I listed some tools that can help you map out or draw anything in your chart. Okay, so I made mention of trend lines. trend lines. Okay, the network is bad, but I will still use my phone to show you what a trend line is. Today is Sunday and the market is closed right now. Okay, so we don't trade weekends, we only trade from Monday till Thursday, most times Friday. Okay, so let me show you what the trend line looks like. Okay, the market is closed and my network is bad. Oh fuck shit, oh fuck shit, fuck shit, fuck shit. Oh, okay, let me check our MT4 if we can see. Okay, let me show you something. Oh, my network is really bad, guys. My network is really bad. I would have loved to show you what the trend line looks like. Okay, let me just explain it. Once you go to your shapes, like this point here, once you go here, I've showed you how to do this, but let me just go back again. Once you click on these shapes here that has shape, triangle, and circle, once you click on it, you search for a tool called trend line. So how do you use this trend line to identify this? How do you use trend line to identify a trend when you're trading the market? Okay, let me make some drawings for you. Okay, let's go back. Okay, let's go back. All right, here we go. So now, how do we identify this using trend lines? So we have our pencil, and let's start with an uptrend. Okay, let's start with an uptrend. Let's identify an uptrend, then we can move to other ones. Remember I said we have higher highs. We have higher highs, we have higher highs, higher lows. Okay, so now let's draw them. Okay, oh sorry guys, let me clean this thing up. I don't know, this device is just okay. Let's dive into it. So remember we have higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Let me draw this back again. So you get it, clear picture. We have higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and higher lows. So now, if you observe this chart very well, you see that at some point they all meet, which is at this point, this point, this point, and this point. Below it, they met at this point, at this point, at this point, and at this point. So your trend line now, once you pick your trend line, you put it at the beginning of your trend to see if they all meet at a particular point, above and below. If you watch this trend, you see that at this point, they all met at this point here. Below it, they met at this point. Now the truth here is this: they must meet at a particular point minimum of 3 times. Then you can call that either an uptrend or a downtrend or a consolidation zone. Let's use a downtrend to explain better. Okay, for a downtrend, let's lower high. Okay, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. If you watch, they met at a point. They met here. They met here. Below it, they met at this point. They met at this point. So all you need to do is use your trend line to place it accurately at the top and at the bottom. If they touch a couple of times, minimum 3 times, then you can call that an uptrend or a downtrend. The same thing applies to a consolidation zone. If your market is doing something like this, or let me go down to draw down way and explain. if you see your market doing something like this, it is very, very easy to map out your zone here. You will see that at this top here, they met 1, 2, 3. Below it, they met a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is how you identify a consolidation zone. This is how you identify a downtrend. This is how you identify an uptrend. So that is how you identify your zones when trading. Remember, I said they must meet a minimum of 3 times, a maximum of, in short, any amount. As far as they're in the same line, that is a solid up, down, or consolidation zone. Remember, I made reference of the point where they meet. Most times, the market may not be as accurate as this, meeting at a particular point, so perfect like this. The market most times may not be perfect like this, meeting at a particular point, both upward, downward, meeting at a part. Most times the market may not present itself like this. Most of the times, believe me, most of the time. So how do we now identify this trend when most times the market is not as perfect as it is the way I drew it? What do we do? Let me clear this thing off. What do we do at that point? So now, realistically, most times the market, because the market movement is up, down, momentum, break of structure, most times the market just move with so much strength. Okay, let's assume that for an uptrend, the market is doing something like this. The market is doing something like this. What do we do at this point? What do we do? How do we identify this? Let me clean this and make it more bold so we can be able to draw this thing very well. Okay, let's go again. What if the market represents itself to be something like this? Sorry. To be something like this. Now, what do you do in a situation like this? Because realistically, the market most time appear to be something complex like this, or more complex than this. What do you do? All you need to do is just pick your pick 2. Now go for your pick 2. You try to draw your trend line from the beginning. You just zoom it in to see the original movement. Okay, what you need to do is from this point you pick it, you draw your trend line. You see that they met here. This is the major movement of the market. Okay, now for the down part, it's very easy. Most times you don't even need to identify this thing. You've seen that this is an uptrend. Okay, all you need to do is you come to this point, you draw it too. You make sure they meet at a certain point. From here you can draw this thing like this to make sure that they meet here. Remember, I told you the minimum of 3 times, and they also met there like this. You can also say this is an uptrend. Like the original movement, the market is moving up because it broke this structure here. BOS. It broke this structure here. The market has been making upward higher high, meaning that here is a higher low, here is a higher high, and all these points, higher low, higher low. That is what the market is doing. The same thing applies for a downward movement. Now let's identify this downward movement. Let's identify it. Let's clean this one off. Let's identify this downward movement in a complex form. Let's identify this downward movement in a complex format. Okay, let's identify it. It's still the same thing. All we need to do is, when we see the markets, let's say we see the markets doing something like this, ranging, pull up, come down, ranging, and it's just, the market is just misbehaving like this. What do we do? What do you do? This is very easy too. You use your pick tool, as always. You make sure you have one or two different possible touches. It's very easy, above and below. Let me draw it where, guys. Pardon me. Let me draw it well. Okay, let's say the market is doing something like the market is coming down, doing something like this. Okay, the market is doing something like this. How do we draw this? You just put your picture at the beginning and make sure to have so many touches up and below it. Okay, you see how the market touched here, it touched here. Just observe it very well. It touched here, it touched here, it touched here, it touched here, it touched here. The same thing, it touched here, it touched here, touched here, touched here, and also touched here. This is how you identify these zones perfectly when trading. This is how you get it perfectly when trading. Okay, that is it. So now for a consolidating area or zone, remember the market may do something like this. How do you do this? All you need is just your pick tool. This is a consolidation zone. The market has been rejecting these points, pulling down to this point, pull up again to this point, came down, has been rejecting here, rejecting here, rejecting here, came down to this point too. So the market has been consolidating inside of this zone. Just know that whenever you see the market rejecting a particular level and it's just moving like that, it's just moving up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, in a particular level is a consolidating zone. Okay, that is it for how to identify trends perfectly like a pro. Okay, that is it for this video. Thank you.